Hola, mi gente. Welcome back to Cat and Too Many Books. I'm Kat. And today we're going to be looking at the library haul I have for the first quarter of the year. So in my goals for 2025, I said I wanted to try to read more from the library for books that I don't own or haven't bought, just to kind of keep my goal of not buying too many books until I've read some of them off my TBR kind of balanced. So I've decided I'm going to try to do that. If there's like a book that I really, really want to get, or I think it's really interesting, I'm going to get it at the library first and see how it goes. So I have 15 books here. I have 15 physical books with me, and then I have about 11 in my hold for my library, which I will also talk about in a second. So that's about 26 books, and that's for the first quarter. So from now till about the end of March. The way my library works, and I don't know if everybody library works like that. I know Rachel let me know. Is that we can borrow the 7-day books, which are the newer books. We can borrow most of them up to 3 weeks. Some of them you have to read within a week, so you have to kind of keep up with that. And then the ones that are new, but not necessarily 7 days, like they're not being requested or one that they think people really want to read all the time, you can get for 9 weeks, and then the older titles same. So you have about 2.5 months, give or take, right? Depending on how you do your library haul, you can have up to about 3 months, right? Depending on how you take them out, right? If you sort of take your time with them and scaffold them, you have about 3 months to read the books that you kind of want to read. So yay! So I have 15 books that I have physically here that I want to talk about that I am hoping to read in the next quarter. Some of these I will have to read sooner rather than later. So let's talk about the ones that I will have to read sooner rather than later. So some of these might have appeared in my accomplishments. No, I mean, sorry, in my possibilities goal. Maybe. Yes. A couple of them I think have appeared in my possibilities goals. My possibilities vlog. So, okay. Here we go. The first time I want to talk about is Lightning in Her Hands by, let me put it over here. Lightning in Her Hands by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. So Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. This book is about a girl named, oh my gosh, what is her name? The male protagonist's name is Carter. Her name is Teal Flores and Carter Velasquez. Yes. And so Teal has two problems. One, she needs a date for her ex-boyfriend's wedding. And two, she needs to be able to find her mother so she can be able to control her power of controlling the weather. So apparently she can control the weather, but her emotions kind of do it now. She has no way to control how to do that. So when she gets emotional, it seems things happen to the weather. Anyway, so they decide to work together. Oh, and then Carter has to, I think he can't inherit his family business unless he shows that he's a family man. I think his grandmother's requiring him to be married and have, on the road to starting a family. So they decide to help each other out. And they do fake dating, which I love fake dating. I also love like arranged marriages that turn into love kind of thing. That's like one of my favorite tropes, after a friends to lover kind of thing. So I thought, I don't know, it sounded really kind of interesting. I like the magical aspect of it too, which is what made me kind of get it, because I'm not a big romance girly, but I like magical aspects of things, so it sounded kind of cute, so I picked it up. I have to read sooner rather than later. It's a 7-day book, so depending on how popular it is, I may only have a week to read it. I may have up to 3 weeks. So I have to kind of get it in there somewhere. The next one I have is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is part of the Rose Hill series. I've not read any of the Rose Hill series, but I've heard a lot about them. And this one is Skylar Stone, who is like, I think she's some sort of like musician, rock star or something, and some stuff happens. Sounds like maybe some traumatic stuff happens and she decides to take time off, maybe semi-retire, and ends up moving to Rose Hill, I guess. And then she meets Weston, who I think is a character people have met before. I haven't, because I've not read any of the other books. And then a whole romance starts, and I think she falls in love with him and his daughter. Does he have a daughter? Yeah. So, and it's about her sort of settling in this life and finding how it fits her, and then her past or whatever kind of coming back and her having to make the decision, right? And apparently he's extremely supportive, and just like a really good dude. I don't know. It sounds good. I again, not a big romance girly, but I'm trying to kind of like bring in a little bit of that genre into my life, you know? And I thought this would be a good place to start. I know there's 2 before this. I don't know if it's necessary to read them to read this, but I'm going to say no. And maybe if I really like Wild Eyes, I'll go back and pick up the other ones. All right, another one that I need to read soon is The Author's Guide to Murder by Beatrice Williams, Lauren Willig, Karen White. So this is a book about a very popular mystery series author who has invited a bunch of other authors for like some sort of retreat in Scotland. That author is murdered, and so it's the detective is trying to figure out who killed him, and 3 of the authors, 3 of the female authors, are suspects. So I think it's the story of them sort of telling him how they got there and giving the detective their story. And I assume the 3 authors that wrote it are writing the 3 different perspectives of the 3 different female authors. That's my takeaway, maybe. I don't know. Sounds like a lot of fun. It's a cozy murder mystery. It's about writers. It seems very meta, very satirical. Don't know. Let's see how I enjoy it. Again, to be real, this is my DNF era, right? So if I decide I don't like a book, out it goes. But hopefully I'll like them. The next one is a book I actually saw in Chicago when I was visiting for right before New Year's, and I really thought it looked really cute, and luckily it was here in my local library. So it's Rules for Ghosting by Shelley J. Shore, and the story is about Ezra, who can see ghosts, has always been able to see ghosts. Unfortunately, his family owns like a funeral home, so that was probably kind of difficult growing up. Also, his grandfather, who passed away and is basically a ghost, is very judgmental and doesn't particularly like Ezra's going through his second HRT-induced puberty. So it is a queer novel as well. And he ends up leaving and then finding a dream job, but then losing that dream job. And he has to return home because then his mom basically leaves with the rabbi's wife. So he's put in charge of taking care of the funeral home, and he meets like the volunteer / person who lives in the apartment there, Jonathan, and really likes him. But unfortunately, Jonathan's very recently dead husband is sort of also there. So it's about that whole thing. Sounded really funny and cute, so and interesting. So that's the next one. All right, I've got 2 more that are have to read sooner rather than later. Misery Hates Company by Elizabeth Hobbs. It's a Marigold Manors mystery. This is the beginning of a new series. And Marigold is a archaeologist, or she's studying to be an archaeologist. Unfortunately, I think her parents pass away, or I don't know if it's an accident or how it goes, but she's basically left destitute, so she has to give up studying, which bums her out, obviously, and she has to end up moving upstate to live with family, which she does. She actually takes this as an adventure and moves upstate with family, and there's a little town, and she kind of makes herself, I was a nuisance, but probably in the town. And then some people start getting murdered, and I think she's being framed for it. So she decides she's going to figure out who's killing these people. So she starts detecting. And yeah, it looks cute. It's set in the late 19th century, I think. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. And yeah, later I'm hoping to have a series I want to read in 2025, and I think obviously that might be one of the ones that I might want to get into this year, depending on how I like it. The last one that I have to read sooner rather than later, I do have 3 weeks, so they would read this one for sure. It's The Family Afternoon Club, a family memoir by Griffin Dunne. If you don't know who Griffin Dunne is, I think he writes books now, but he was a huge 80s and early 90s actor. He still acts. I mean, he was in Only Murders in the Building in the recent season, actually. And he's like fascinating. He's really fascinating. His family's life is so much. So I'm going to read the synopsis real quick because I don't think I can like explain it. At 8, Sean Connery saved him from drowning. At 13, desperate to hook up with Janis Joplin, he attended his Aunt Joan Didion and Uncle John Gregory Dunne's legendary LA launch party for Tom Wolfe's The Electric Cool Kid acid test. At 16, he got kicked out of boarding school, ending his institutional education for good. In his early 20s, he shared an apartment in Manhattan's Hotel des Artistes with his best friend and soulmate Carrie Fisher while she was filming some sci-fi movie called Star Wars, and he was a struggling actor working as a popcorn concessionaire at Radio City Music Hall. A few years later, he produced and starred in the now iconic film After Hours, directed by Martin Scorsese. In the midst of it all, Griffin's 22-year-old sister Dominique, a rising star in Hollywood, was brutally strangled to death by her ex-boyfriend, leading to one of the most infamous public trials of the 1980s. The outcome was a travesty of justice that marked the beginning of their father Dominic Dunne's career as crime reporter for Vanity Fair and a victims' rights activist. And yet, for all its bold-faced cast of characters and jaw-dropping scenes, the Friday Afternoon Club is no mere celebrity memoir. It is, down to its bones, a family story that embraces the poignant absurdities and best and worst efforts of its lovable, infuriating, funny, and moving characters, its author most of all. This sounds so good. Like, I'm so excited to read this. So, yeah. I might try to read it I don't have it in my possibilities video, but I might try to read it this month. If not, definitely next month. It sounds so good. So good. I probably should read it this month. I think it's gonna be one that's gonna be needed back in the library sooner rather than later. All right, I have a few more here. These are the ones that I have a little bit more time, a little more flexibility with. So I'm currently, and this is in my possibilities video, I'm currently reading and almost finished with Death at the Manor by Catherine Shellman. It is a Lily Adler mystery. If you don't know, Lily is a recent widow. Her husband died about 2 years ago, but she's still obviously mourning, who moves back to London to sort of try to get her life back into her life again and sort of try to figure out what her new normal is. And like upon her first weekend, she stumbles on a murder and ends up helping the police solve it. And so the series is that her sort of continually stumbling onto these murders that happen and kind of figuring them out. Has a really nice cast of characters as well. Her two closest friends are Captain Jack and Ophelia. Captain Jack was her husband's best friend. And then Ophelia's her friend that she meets in the first book. And they're both awesome characters. I love the cast of characters. I love the friend group a lot. And I am low-key shipping Lily and Captain Jack. I don't always do that, but I really like them. Hoping for something to happen, but this is very slow burn. This is very like Veronica Speedwell type of, and Stoker type of slow burn, it feels like to me. So if you know, you know. So yeah, I'm very excited to finish this one. I'm really enjoying it, and yeah. The next one I have after that is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. I have this for a book club, an Instagram book club that I am in. And this one is about two characters. They are dragon riders. They eventually become dragon riders. Something happens. Everybody gets a chance to become a dragon rider. And they have to kind of save their worlds in this like revolution. That's all I really know. It's a young adult novel. I'm not a big young adult reader much anymore, but I thought Dragon Riders, why not give it a go? And it's also for a book club. I might make myself finish it because it's for a book club, but at the same time, I am in my DNF era, so I may just say no if I don't like it. The next one I have is another series that I'm reading, and that is Murder in Maman, a Tita Rosie kitchen mystery by Mia P. Manansala. I really enjoy this one. I have read 3 of these already. So this is my 4th one. I think there's 5 now. So I'm catching up. I think that's right? Let me look. I've read Arsenic and Adobo, Homicide and Halo Halo, Blackmail and Bibinka, which was a Christmas one. I think I actually read it last year around Christmas time. So it's been a year or more since I've read any of these. And then Murder in Maman is the next one in the series. There's one more that just came out, whose name I don't know. But anyway, this is about Lila, who is moves back home after her mom dies, and decides to open like a cafe or something there with friends, and it's just her kind of getting involved in these murders that keep happening in her town, and a lot of them involve like people in her family, so at least the last couple of them. And this one involves her. She has a group of aunties who are titas or whatever, that are like crazy gossips or whatever, and have done a lot of stuff apparently. And I guess there is a murder in one of their laundromats, so they're newly open laundromats, and they are suspects. So she is going to make sure that her titas don't end up in prison, I guess. It's really cute. Great family, like friend group, really funny. I quite enjoy it. So the next one I have is, so I took out Murder at Midnight by Catherine Shellman, because I thought I was going to be done with the one I'm currently reading sooner than I was. And this was supposed to be for Christmas, because if you can tell, it's got a little like holly, because this takes place at Christmas and is directly Captain Jack's sister gets introduced. And I'm excited because I think she becomes a part of the series afterwards, I think, if I remember reading correctly. And I think there's some Lillian Captain Jack stuff in here. So I was excited to get to it, but I've not read this one yet. It's kind of Christmassy. So what I was thinking was I was hoping to do like a Christmas in July theme. So in July, so I might just wait till July and read this in July. But if I can't and really want to get to it, I will try to read it in the next couple of months. But we'll see. This might go back. Anyway, yeah, that's the next one in the Lily Alder mystery series. I've also picked up a nonfiction I've been wanting to read, and I made myself get this from the library and not buy it. I saw Murphy read this early last year, and she loved it so much, and it sounded so interesting. And I actually even got it for a friend for their birthday, I think it was, because I thought they would quite enjoy this because they like things that have to do with like pirates. So this one's called The Wager. A Tale of Shipwreck, Mutiny, and Murder by David Grann. What I understand about this, it is about a well-known documented event that happened where a ship, I guess, was shipwrecked. And then like part of the crew shows up back, I guess, either where they were supposed to be or back where they came from. And everybody's sort of celebrating that they made it through or whatever. But then the other half of the crew also shows up and says that part of the crew there was a mutiny and they left them stranded on an island or something. It was like it was like a whole, like 2 differing stories, and people had to figure out what was going on. And I think you're just kind of reading and trying to figure out what really happened. Or obviously David Grann is sort of going by things that he's researched to try to figure out what happened. I don't know. Sounded great. Pirates, mystery thing. Sounds interesting. So I want to give it a go. Definitely before buying it for myself. The next one I have is the second in a series that I know I'm so mad about, only because I know that this series is not, I don't know if the author is going to continue it, but I really love the first book. It's the Sixth World series. So I'm reading book 2 of the Sixth World. I I don't know if it was supposed to be a trilogy series, I guess. Storm of Locust by Rebecca Roanhorse. I loved Trail of Lightning, like loved it. I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I did. I genuinely loved it. And so this continues the story of Kai and Maggie. Yeah, Maggie and Kai and what happens after the first book. And there's a lot of stuff that happens in the end of the first book, and maybe the ramifications of that. And I think it feels like Kai has like turned bad, but like I think it turns out, and this is in the synopsis, that he's gone undercover to try to figure something out about this group that is causing like a lot of mayhem in their like world. And this is based on a lot of indigenous mythology, so they're like gods in the actual book and stuff. I love the first book. I was very excited to read the second book. I'm a little sad to read it now because I don't know Rebecca Roanhorse is going to do a third one. So like, I think this is left cliffhangery. I'm hoping now that she's done with her series that she just finished that she might turn back to this. But I'm going to read it anyway. So yeah. Speaking of the series, I'm going to start Rebecca Roanhorse's Between Earth and Sky series with Black Sun, which is, I know is just, oh, look how pretty the inside cover is. It is about, so it's inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas and woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, political intrigue, and forbidden magic. It sounds amazing. This cover, stunning. Stunning cover. I love this cover so much. I absolutely loved Rebecca Roanhorse's writing in Trail of Lightning. I've also read a couple short stories by her in some collections of short stories, and I genuinely love her writing. So I'm very excited to start this series. It will be featured on my series that I will be doing in 2025 probably. So I'm excited. All right, so I've got a couple more. Uh-oh. That's my dog, Bonnie. She's a little sick. She has an appointment tomorrow. Sorry. She's been kind of sick for a little bit. She's okay. It's kind of cough, which isn't great, but it's being treated. So she's going to be okay. She just has a cough. Hopefully it'll go away soon enough. All right. So the last two I have that I have physically is The Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller, which I don't really know much about. I know it is a series about a woman named Freya whose like mentor, and she's an antique dealer, is murdered. Or he dies under suspicious circumstances. She thinks he's murdered. So she basically joins forces with her aunt Carol, who is also an antique dealer, I think, and they go figure out what happened to her mentor. That's the basic premise. I don't know much about it. I had a friend who read it and said it was mid. So we'll see if I like it, if it's good enough to continue a series or not. And then the last one that I have, this is physically, it's Women Who Rock Cross Stitch. 30 powerful patterns to unleash your inner icon. I'm trying to make something for a friend. I recently got into cross stitch this last year. I think I mentioned that before. And so I'm going to do something for a friend, and I'm trying to pick some icons to cross stitch and do something for her. So I thought I'd pick this up, and this is one that I can take out a few different times. I don't think very many people are taking this one out, so I might be able to get this done in the next couple of months. And that is all I have for my physical, my physical TBR. And I'm going to pull up my holds. Right, and so I think I have, actually I think it looks like I have 10 holds. Yes. So, in total I have 25 books for this quarter. 15 physical already, and then 10 that I sort of on hold and look at when they come in. Murder Comes to Call, which is fourth or fifth probably in the Burl and Edwina mystery, which is about two friends set in the 1920s in a little English village. And they are always investigating murders that happen in the village. It's very cute. I actually quite like it. And then I've got Feminist Cross Stitch, 40 Bold and Fierce Patterns for my cross stitching needs. Maybe Swearing Will Help, Relax and Curse Your Ass Off in cross stitch, again, for my own crafting. Then I have A House for Miss Pauline by Diana Macaulay. I think it's Macaulay. It is about a 99-year-old Jamaican woman who knows she's not going to make it to her 100th birthday and decides she needs to go on like this journey, I guess maybe of redemption. She's done a lot of things she did what she had to do to survive, and she's like taught herself how to read, educated herself, and ended up like becoming one of like the most prominent ganja like farmers in her part of the country or whatever she was living at. And she's got grandkids and kids and stuff, but she feels like she needs to go maybe ask for forgiveness from people for the things that she's done. She's done some stuff. That's all I really know. It sounded really, really good. I don't always pick up literary fiction, but this sounded really good. I'm hoping it comes in for next month at least. First Time Caller, which is by B.K. Borison. I only got this one because it sounds very much like Sleepless in Seattle. So it is about a man named, what was his name? Aiden, who has like a talk show that's about romance, but he himself has fallen out of love, like fallen out of love with love, basically, and doesn't really believe in it. But this little girl calls, or this young girl calls, trying to basically see if they can help her find, I guess, her mom, like a boyfriend or something. Not 100% sure. It's got very much Sleepless in Seattle vibes. So I love Sleep in Seattle. I thought I'd give it a chance. Again, trying to be open to romance this year. So Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray. It is actually about a real historical figure, I believe. It's about Jessie Redmond Faust, who is a prominent figure in the Harlem Renaissance, some sort of like editor or something of, I think, one of the newspapers. And this talks about her relationship with like W.E.B. Du Bois and Countee Cullen and Langston Hughes and Nella Larson, and just how she influenced them. But it's like a narrative of her life. So it's a fictionalized version of her real life. And it sounded really interesting. So I wanted to pick it up. I again hoping it comes in very soon. Maybe, well, not too soon. Maybe for next month, so I can put it in my my possibilities for next month. The next one I have is Voyage of the Damned, which was written by Frances White. This is like something I've heard about before. I hadn't read it yet, but it's, you know, it's got queer representation. It's about magic and pirates and murder, and it's supposed to be really kind of awesome and fun and romantic romp. It's fantasy, and while I'm not 100% sure if I will ever get into a romance era, who knows, I am 100% feeling my fantasy era this year, so I want to read a lot of fantasy. So looking forward to when that comes in. I am in line for that one. I think 3 behind, like 3 in line, so it could take a minute. Next one is Atlas of Paranormal Places, A Journey to the World's Most Supernatural Places by Evelyn Hollow. What it says on the tin, it is a book about the most haunted places, and this person's gone there and researched it and talked about it. So Let's Move with Needle, an activism handbook for artists, crafters, creatives, and makers. It is a book written by Shannon Downey, who is an activist. I think they're called craftivists, who use crafts and arts to sort of forge ahead with like activism and sort of foster it with their creativity. And it sounded really interesting. I thought I wanted to read a little bit. I mean, she goes around and speaks to like current activists, or, you know, using the arts and the crafts to do some good. So it sounded interesting. Put it on there. And the last one is called The Wedding Witch by Erin Sterling. I think she wrote The Ex-Hex, which I haven't read. But it sounds kind of fun. It's got witches and ghosts and magic. And I think it's about a loner who studies magic alone. But then his friend, who's a ghost, Colin, asks him to go to this wedding where he meets this witch. And I don't know if there's like some sort of little paranormal romance going on. It feels like it. So I guess maybe with the witch that he meets, Tamsin, I think is her name. So yeah, looking forward to this one. It seems like a lot of fun. I'm this one I'm really, what am I in line? Probably not the worst. I'm like 5th in line. That's not too terrible. So probably in a couple of months I'll see that one. So yeah, those were it. That was the 25 books I have for the first quarter. Oh, maybe I could do that for every quarter. 25 library hauls, 25 books. I will not be reading all those books. I know 100% I will not. But I like to have choices. I am a mood reader, so I need to have choices to read. And some of them I may pick up and not like. And a couple of those were not for reading, obviously, they're for cross-stitching purposes. But anyways, yeah, that was it. Hopefully I'll be able to get through some of these, the ones that I'm most interested in. I will do that in those levels. I'll sort through them and be like, these are the ones I'm most interested in. These, if I can read, I will. And hopefully I'll be able to read them in the next 3 months. And that's it for now. Thank you guys. Please comment, like, subscribe if you'd like. Let me know if you got anything in your library haul, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.